Bob Osher was one of my first mentors in ophthalmology and still a
Yeah.
dear friend and great mentor. It's something he instilled in us from the time I was a medical student, just, attending these residency ophthalmology, conferences and meetings to when I actually started residency outright myself was he said, you have to record everything. You have to record every single case.
Yeah.
And, he has all this footage and he goes back and he's so passionate about, submitting things to film festivals. And so I recorded all of my cases. And I think what you said, reviewing every case, being conscientious about it. But then when you do that on scale, let's say you're doing high volumes, high surgical volume, now you're not just going through the reps, but you're going through the reps with a mindset of how can I make each next rep even better than the one before
Right.
it. And it's like an athlete training, right, for a sport
Right.
or a musician listening to their recitals or their rehearsals and saying, okay, that didn't sound right, or the tempo on that was off. How can I change that and make that better? I think it's just really what it comes down to. If you're fortunate enough to have cultivated a setting where you can do high volume, you're fortunate enough to have had mentors to make you aware that you need to be conscientious about what you're doing, it's just a mindset of wanting to grow as a person and as a
Right.
surgeon, because you can go through 20 years, 30 years of a career, and if you're content with the way you've done cataract surgery, maybe now you haven't kept up to date with technology, you haven't kept up to date with the latest clinical guidelines or
Right.
advancements in medicine, and you're still practicing the same way you did before, when you were a resident all those years ago. And I feel like that's kind of a disservice
Yeah.
to not just our patients and our profession, but almost to yourself. Because I feel like 99.9% of people have the potential to grow and be better. And, it's I think a combination again of repetition and then being conscientious. So when did you realize, or at what point in your career did you realize, like, hey, I'm able to do something, or maybe I'm doing something here at scale that maybe the average ophthalmologist is not doing? Like, when did you realize you had kind of advanced or reached that next level?
Gosh. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I mean, cataract surgery is one of those skills that's constantly evolving and you constantly need to be challenged. And, I do talk about it. Some people say, well, how long does it take to train a LASIK surgeon to be sort of world-class? I said, I could probably do that 3 to 6 months. And they say, okay, well, how long does it take to train a cataract surgeon to become world-class? I said, you know what? Or they'll say, how long did it take you to become, world-class cataract surgeon? I said, you know what? I'll tell you when I get there, and meaning, you're always learning, as much as after I did my first 1,000 cases, I was like, oh, now I've figured it out. But then I look back, my 10,000 cases was way better than my 1,000 cases. And it's a constantly evolving skill. You've never really reached the top versus, I think, LASIK, as far as a technical skill, is relatively straightforward. There's a lot of nuance in how do you treat, what do you treat, what's the right prescription. But technically, when you're actually walking through the steps, it's relatively straightforward. Short of, maybe there's some complication management that are unique that you have to work through. But cataract is just another level that is a constant effort to improve. And I'd say I'm still not there yet. I'm still learning.